For many of us, meeting Piper was a pretty uneventful thing. Whether that experience was sharing a room at alumni FFA camp like she did with Chesley, her sitting down next to us and professing her love for One Direction like she did to Alex, nearly tripping over our ag teacher like she did when we met, or coming into the room screaming and naked like she was when she met her sister Sheridan.
There's one thing that we can all agree on. Life with Piper has been anything but uneventful since the moment we met her.
She lights up the room with her smile, inspires each person she meets to be their best, and her energy and heart of service truly proves that dynamite comes in small packages.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's our privilege to introduce to you
Our best friend, our sister,
and your Central Region Vice President. Give it up for Piper Merritt.
It was Brian Herbert who said the capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill, but the willingness to learn is a choice. And this is a choice that every single one of us has to make, and a choice that if we made would enhance the quality of our lives for the better. You see, a huge misconception that people have is that they think that learning stops whenever schooling stops. They think that after high school and college that they're done learning, they're done improving and growing themselves. But you see, the world is changing at such a rapid speed that if you don't learn and change and improve with it, then it's gonna leave you behind.
I distinctly remember the first time I heard the noise. Cruising down Highway 280 in southern Alabama on the way to the Reeltown FFA chapter. A brightly illuminated little sign saying, "Tire pressure low. Check tires." Perfect. But I've seen warnings like this before. Not a big deal. My mind, I'll go to the chapter, have some fun with them, then get a good look at the tire and decide if it's anything worth worrying about. I have a great morning with the students, and then head out to my car, buckle my seatbelt, put my maps in, throw it in reverse, and then the sound. From where I was sitting, it sounded like something was scraping against the pavement. And from where I could see, the car was even a little bit slanted. Now, I nervously began making up scenarios in my mind. I am parked on a hill. That's why I'm slanted right now. I definitely ran over a soda can on the way here. That's that huge scraping noise coming from the front right of my car. But deep down, I knew. Reeltown, we got a problem. So I pulled the car over 100 feet into the next open parking spot, got out, and my worst fears were confirmed. I had a flat tire. Now, believe it or not, this was actually the first flat tire I had ever encountered by myself, and I was nervous. My friends will tell you that I am a chronic overthinker, so this situation was no exception to my personal rule of literally anything will go wrong at any point in time. I began thinking about what my next move from here would be, but then I realized I couldn't really go anywhere because of, the tire, so. My first call was to the rental company. I call one a little like this. "Hi, so I have one of your rentals, and I got a flat tire." She said, "Oh, okay, ma'am, well, that's not a problem. Did you purchase roadside assistance?" Was I supposed to? I heard typing in the background, and she went, "Okay, well, you can change the tire yourself, or you can wait for someone to get to you." Knowing I did not have enough time, I realized I was gonna have to do this thing myself. Now, Mama raised me to be independent. Let's do this. There's something called a jack involved, and that's all I got. Luckily for me, this breakdown occurred right outside of the Reeltown FFA chapter. One phone call to Mr. Burgess, and 2 minutes later, 25 agriculture students flooded the car trying to find the cause of my flat. Within another 2 minutes, the cause was found. See, there are these things called nails. When those come in contact with, my tire, doesn't end well for either party that day. Within another 2 minutes, they changed my tire, and my friend Kashaya and I watched as Mr. Burgess and AJ changed it as quickly and efficiently as I've seen. I was able to finish out the rest of my day on schedule, luckily. That day in the parking lot, I had the question, what would have happened had I had this moment by myself? If I was on the highway cruising down the road and this tire would have popped and I was just left to my own devices, would not have been good. Luckily for me, though, I don't have to answer those questions because of Mr. Burgess and his students. That day in the parking lot, as we changed my tire, it became pretty clear to me that we can learn something from every single person. And that's not just me. Every single person in this life is called to be a forever learner. Those that accept this title of being a forever learner walk in a life of joy, happiness, and humility and success, much like I was able to just through a quick phone call and a flat tire. Some of the most successful people that have ever walked this earth have echoed the call to never stop learning. But that's up to us. Those that don't accept this title never experience the world of joy surrounding them, never fully understand those in their lives, and are left to themselves, much like I would have been had I not reached out. Every single one of us has the opportunity to be a forever learner. But where that joy really lies is when we take it and run with it. In order to be forever learners, we must set our pride aside and find the joy in learning. One of my favorite experiences this year was traveling to 5 FFA camps across the United States of America. Now, y'all might not know this about me, but I'm pretty much like a Bear Grylls in the woods, a nature expert, you might say. Drink it in, nature expert, right here. So as we went to the woods that day, I was hiking up the hills at Camp Oswegatchie in New York. I climbed up with hammock in hand, spending the night with the junior girls group in the middle of the woods. It was beautiful. They were all cooking s'mores, sitting together, but one girl was sitting by herself. I marched over to the fire, I sat down with her. I said, hey, I'm gonna spend the night with y'all tonight. I just gotta set my hammock up real quick if you don't mind. She said, hey, I'll help with that. Y'all, I'm the nature expert here. I'm like, I'm good, thanks though. I'm gonna go set up the hammock. So I go set up my hammock. I am trying to get these into these huge pine trees. Now here's the thing. I know I'm really tall, right? And so I'm trying to reach up to these branches to attach my hammock, and I'm on an incline, and 3 or 4 more times this girl comes over and she's like, you sure you don't need any help with that? Like, listen, I got this. This is all going very well, as you can see. Here's the thing, though. I did not got this. It was a rough situation, but I was too embarrassed to ask for help, and I was way too far into setting up my hammock as it was all tangled and messy, and I really just wanted to eat a s'more. Finally, the hammock was set. As I went over and sat back next to her, though, her demeanor had shifted a little bit. One by one, she and I watched as the other girls all went off to bed, ready for our next day at camp. But it was just us two. Sat staring at the fire at the starry night in the middle of the woods. We began chatting. I kind of broke the silence with my first question, said, so, how are you liking Camp O? She said, it's good. Then I dug a little bit deeper. Turns out her dad had been in the hospital for quite a while. Mom was always at work. Her and her brother hardly spoke anymore. I pushed. Do you miss your dad? I miss what we'd do together. He was my best friend. We would play outside together, we would work together. Pipes, he was my best friend. It struck me then why she wanted to help me so badly set up a hammock. We went our separate ways off to bed that evening. I felt defeated. How could I have missed the obvious signs of her wanting to help me so badly? Why did I ignore her offers for help when I really could have used it? Why are we so prideful? My pride got in the way of me learning a lot from her that evening. From setting up the hammock to chatting around s'mores, I could have learned from her in a lot of different places. And we could have began building a friendship. I could have listened to her. I could have helped her with her problems, or even just been an ear that would listen to what was going on in her mind. Why was I prideful? The rest of that week, we grew closer. From meal traditions to kayaking, we grew together. I finally decided to set my pride aside and just learn. Every single one of us has the ability to be a forever learner, but in order to do that, that means humbling ourselves, or in some cases, like I was that evening, being humbled. One surefire way to begin our journey of learning: set pride aside. At school, at work, set pride aside. In all of our relationships with our family or with our friends, set pride aside. One moment away from actually learning something. We simply need to set our pride aside. Once our pride is pushed to the side, then comes the fun. I remember encountering a forever learner on the side of a volcano in the middle of Japan. Not exactly the place you think, well, I'm going to learn a life-altering lesson here. Let's do this. So then we began speaking. We learned about the two main commodities in Sakurajima, the daikon radish and their tangerine. Now, there's kind of some different effects going on with those. With the tangerine, it is smaller than the size of the palm of my hand. The volcanic ash has a different effect on it. Now, switch that around, and on the radish, these things turn out to be an average size of 20 to 25 pounds. They're huge, like twice the size of my head. So as we began learning about these different commodities, we also learned about a farmer who produces them. This guy had been doing this for 70 years. Y'all hear that? 70 years, people. This dude has been doing the same task, farming the exact same crop for 70 years. That day, we actually got to meet him. We went to his farm, and our translator, Chieko, helped us ask him some questions. We asked why he'd been doing this so long. Why had he been farming the same produce for so long? His answer? Every radish is different. There's always something new to learn. Here is a man who has every right to be prideful in his trade, yet he'd pushed his pride to the side and realized that there was still more to learn. I learned from him that day that there is joy in learning. When you've been doing the same task for 70 years and you can still get excited about it, yeah, y'all, that's joy. The light in his eyes and the smile on his face as he explained his expertly mastered craft was incredible. From having us at his farm to inviting us to come back again and again to asking if he could share just one last piece of advice with us on the bus, his light was incredible. He followed out to the bus and said, "I have one more thing." Our translator said, "Sure." His best piece of life advice, his bested piece: work hard and stay happy. That day, as we headed down the volcano, those words were stuck on my mind and in my heart for what made to be a transformational visit. For all of us, we have the opportunity to find joy in learning like that farmer did. How will you find joy in learning? Maybe you'll meet a new friend. You'll sit down and ask them how their day is, actually caring about the answer. Find joy. Maybe you'll ask to teach you a thing or two. Find joy. Maybe you'll talk to a teacher who has been trying for years to get a certain concept through your mind day in and day out. And once you finally grasp it, you'll see the light in their eyes as their job has been accomplished. Find joy in learning. How will you learn from someone and find joy in it today and every single day? Throughout this year, I've had the opportunity to learn from FFA members in 36 states and around the globe. I learned from members like Bailey in Ohio that life is not fully lived unless you're laughing along the way, as we spent the week together at Ohio's FFA camp. Bailey and the Ohio officers are forever learners. The Sunridge Middle FFA chapter in Florida taught me that our gifts are not fully realized unless they are learned through service, as we package meals together in downtown Orlando. The Sunridge Middle FFA members are forever learners. I learned from the Jessamine County Career and Technical Center in Kentucky how to accept others regardless of our differences through late nights and long conversations. The Jessamine County Career and Tech Center members are forever learners. I learned from Myra from Oregon that friendship is defined by dedication, not distance. As she shared joy through text messages, notes, emails, and letters, Myra is a forever learner. And I learned from Nate from Owasso, Oklahoma, that joy is found in every moment, regardless of our circumstances. Nate and Owasso are forever learners. All of these individuals and so many more have shown me a lesson that boils down to this. We can learn something from every single person we encounter. We simply need to set our pride aside and find the joy in learning. It's up to you. It's not up to your ag teachers. It's not up to your friends or your family. It's up to you. It's up to you to find the joy and humility that comes with being a forever learner and to reach out and embrace your title as a forever learner. How will you learn from someone today and every day? Set your pride aside, find the joy in learning, and be a forever learner.
Brand new. I feel like a young John Cusack, like making big mistakes. I feel like for the first time in a long time, I am not afraid.
Madeline Cahill, Piper Merritt. Just as you like your steaks served rare, our team in the National FFA organization has been so incredibly blessed by your rare qualities this year. Your personality paired with your passion for success has not only served our members well, but will take you far into a future full of success. Thank you for sharing your joy for all things Starbucks and Red Bull. Thank you for keeping our team humbled and focused on what truly matters most and challenging us to think beyond ourselves. And last of all, thank you for sharing your love for everything Pokes. Just 1 year, one team, one you. We love you always. Bryce, Erica, Bree, Ian, and Gracie. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2017, 2018 Central Region Vice President, Piper Merritt.
Brand new. I feel like a young John Cusack, like making big mistakes. I feel like for the first time in a long time, I am not